DC is getting serious now. This week, James Gunn announced the sequel to Superman, Man of Tomorrow, which is going to release on the 9th of July, 2027. This is exciting for many reasons, but crucially, this means that the second Superman film of the DCU will release just months before the second installment of The Batman from Matt Reeves. And of course, this has stoked the fires of the idea of the DCU merging with the universe of The Batman. So 2027 will be the first time ever that separate live-action Batman and Superman films will release in the same year. Coincidence? Maybe. So I thought let's talk about this, the possibilities of this new movie, what we could see if Robert Pattinson's Batman met David Corenswet's Superman, and if the universe merging could work. We're doing a discussion video. We're doing a topic.
Discussion video, everybody. Obviously, we had Superman this year, which we loved. We loved Superman. If you want to hear our discussion about that, there's a video about that. We've seen 3 episodes of Peacemaker came out recently, and it's interesting what James Gunn's been saying about his structure of the DCU, because it keeps changing all the time, which is interesting. For example, we haven't heard much about the Authority, which is a bit worrying because I just bought a graphic novel and it's like, it's there. And I'm like, oh, I should get round to that.
Well, this is our first topic video since the original DCU slate at the beginning of 2023. I guess this universe just brings it out of us.
A good old discussion about the DCU.
Going back to our roots.
This is the Out of Time Film Podcast, where your hosts Tom and John discuss everything from blockbuster films to TV and games like there's no tomorrow.
Okay, so we got the Man of Tomorrow announcement, and they released 3 images, all by different graphic novel artists. Jim Lee, Jorge Jimenez, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Mitch Gerards. All 3 of them were in some capacity. David Corenswet Superman with Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor, but crucially, Nicholas Holt is in the green and purple Lex Luthor power armor, which is, I used to pray for times like these.
It looks so sick.
We kind of had Superman and Luthor standing together, and then one of them fighting each other, and then one of them fighting together. So as you say, what does this mean? There's so many different places that this could go. Yeah, I would love to see that.
And also, I find it intriguing that it's called Man of Tomorrow. It's not like a Superman sequel. Gunn stated that it's not Superman, Man of Tomorrow. So it's going to be focused on... I imagine it would be like a buddy cop film between Lex and Superman trying to save the world.
Yeah, that would be amazing. A lot of people have talked about the title Man of Tomorrow. This has so many different applications. Who is the Man of Tomorrow? From Superman's perspective, perhaps it's him. But from Lex Luthor's perspective, absolutely, Lex Luthor would think that he himself is the Man of Tomorrow. And if it is Brainiac, maybe Brainiac thinks he's the Man of Tomorrow. This could go so many different directions, and that's really interesting. But James Gunn has confirmed that this isn't Superman 2, quote unquote. So what does that mean? Does this mean that it's going to be... Because surely it will be focused on Superman and Lex Luthor, but does this open the gate for maybe more people to be in this one?
Yeah, that's pretty exciting to think about, because there's more superheroes being introduced in that movie. Because we see Maxwell Lord being the leader of the Justice Gang, picking everybody in Peacemaker, who wants to be in this group. So I would love to see who is actually a proper leader. There's some really exciting things to think about as well, Man of Tomorrow, as you said, is releasing before the Batman Part 2. This is a really hard debate. We would love to see Robert Pattinson's Batman in the DCU, which is a hot topic right now. There's some really cool things. I mean, you see the thumbnail. It looks so cool to see them together. There's no denying that. It is hard to think about. That's the thing. It's very conflicting. It's like Matt Reeves, he wants to do a grounded, more realistic take on Batman. And then in the DCU today, we had kaijus, we got portals, we got pocket dimensions, we got Baby Joey, all that jazz.
Can you imagine Robert Pattinson's Batman meeting Metamorpho in his little squid form, and he's just kind of dude, you're so weird. I don't know. This is such a conflicting question. Should Matt Reeves keep what he has coined the Batman epic crime saga? If this universe does merge with the DCU, I don't think that universe can have a super grounded, super realistic Batman. I think we need to embrace the pulp, the original whole pitch for the DCU was gods and monsters, and that's even referenced in Superman. And what we're seeing at the forefront so far is the extreme comic bookness of it. And we are going to have 3 years in a row with a super family movie. Superman, Supergirl, Man of Tomorrow. That story seems to have a direction. James Gunn seems to know what that direction is going to be, and that's obviously building a very specific side. We've also got Lanterns. Potentially, Jon Stewart might be in Man of Tomorrow because Aaron Pierre was commenting on the post. I mean, anything could happen here.
And Grant Gustin as well.
I mean,
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Don't get my hopes up, because the Flash TV show, that's in my heart. I love that show forever. This is exciting. That's the thing. We cannot get our hopes up. I do agree about the Batman, about how it is realistic, but in the comics as well, Gotham is an entirely different place. It's so gritty, and the whole point is about Batman is saving people from the darkness itself. But there are some really fantastical things that Batman fights. Like, for example, Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy. There was one that he fought like Egyptian
King Tut.
King Tut, that was it. Yeah.
I can't profess to know anything about King Tut, but he definitely did. I mean, you've got Ra's al Ghul, Mad Hatter,
Ra's al Ghul,
Clayface, and we are getting a Clayface movie, so there's a lot to talk about there. I think in times like this, maybe it's worth looking at the MCU's approach, and I don't think that that should be used as a template. But if you watch Iron Man, that original movie, that's a mostly grounded film, but then that character and that universe went on to face Thanos, and I don't think it is a massive reach for Robert Pattinson's Batman to branch into the more fantastical elements of the DCU. I mean, it depends on whether Matt Reeves wants that. But, I think that you could have a Batman who starts out small, fights the Riddler and the Penguin, and then eventually is going up against whatever big Justice League villain they want to do. Despero.
Darkseid. He faced Darkseid.
Oh, God. The Backlash.
Like,
John,
who the heck are
Backlash.
you? There's no denying about this one thing about why we want to see Robert Pattinson's Batman meet David Cornsvet's Superman. They share this idea of hope. At the end of the Batman, you see that Batman realizes that he cannot be vengeance anymore. He realizes he cannot be the symbol for the anger, for the resentment towards the city, rather than embracing the idea of hope of making the city better. He realizes that he can show hope to the civilians, which always makes me tear up every time I watch the Batman. I watched it again this week. I love it. It's a great movie. It works for me because if the Batman Part 2 takes place years after, we get to see a more hopeful Batman. If you meet something fantastical like that, I think that would be a good place to start to slowly branch into this crazy world of the DCU. But also, I think the crucial thing would be him meeting Superman, because that's the crucial point. And we know about Robert Pattinson, and then we know about David Cornsvet's characters.
I mean, definitely there's a point to be made that if they did just bring Pattinson over, you've already done all the heavy lifting, you've introduced a new Batman, people like it, you don't have to worry about doing that all again. I think tonally, if they did bring Pattinson's Batman universe to the DCU, the most important thing is that it doesn't compromise Matt Reeves' vision and his intended tone. He wants darkness, he wants grit, and I want him to have it, but I don't think that should or could restrict a crossover. I'm imagining it like the Arrowverse crossovers. Characters from very different shows with very different tones and vibes, they crossover, and it never felt wrong. You could have the very serious Oliver Queen interacting with the sincere, heartfelt Flash and the quirky, goofy Legends of Tomorrow, and that's part of the fun. If you read any DC continuity and you read a Batman comic, normally those Batman comics are serious as all hell and dark, and the art is grim and moody and everything is extremely serious. But then if you read a Justice League comic, Batman is still in it and he is still dark and serious.
He's just chilling.
The overall tone isn't sacrificed because of that. So I think from that perspective, let's do it. Now, we do have Clayface, which is going to be part of the DCU, and we are getting that movie. That's next year. It's filming currently. We've seen a bunch of set pics, and that's very interesting to talk about as well.
Yes.
We haven't seen Creature Commandos, but Clayface is in it. So we know that this Clayface is going to become the big monster. They're not going to do like a serious version of it. They're not going to do like a grounded version of it. He's going to be the big monster, it seems.
Batman animated Cape Crusader one.
Yes, exactly. I don't think it's going to be like that. But the thing that is interesting is set pictures. So, there's a bunch of things to talk about here.
Oh boy, I've been looking all over this.
We know of Clayface design in the DCU. We know that it's the big clay monster. So, if it is like that, then this is set during the DCU. I think this is supposed to be a DCU movie, so there's that. The town hall, the Gotham town hall that they're filming at, they are filming it in Liverpool, the same building in the same city that they shot the Batman in. There's also various designs, cop cars, newspapers that are different from the Batman. There's also a sign talking about city renovation. Is it city renovation after the floods in the Batman? Hey, hey, hey. But the big thing that's got people talking is the map. There's a map of Gotham, and it doesn't really match the map of
But
Gotham. Okay, go.
it says downtown Gotham. So this is a smaller part of Gotham that we don't get to see. This is a much bigger thing. Because if you look in the past iterations of Gotham sometimes, for example, in Arkham Knight, there'll be different islands, different places for that. It works well because in the Batman, there's a lot of floodings and it's all around a body of water. It just works.
It does work. It does work. The Batman map is considerably smaller and it's not built up. But as you say, like that could be only a part of the map that we see in Clayface.
Yes.
So
essentially,
there's a lot of persuasive evidence here that could point to this actually happening. Not whether it's a should, but whether it could. Everything we've seen in Clayface so far, I don't think it actively undermines that.
But one thing to note about is that Gunn did say that he's happy to have directors in a DCU have creative control, to have a different style. That makes me think Matt Reeves can still have this grounded reality for Batman in Gotham, because Gotham, it does feel like a closed off space. Nobody wants to go there. But who was it in Peacemaker that wanted to go back to Gotham City?
It's
Adebayo.
Adebayo's ex.
Yeah, she was like, we were supposed to go back to Gotham City. I'm like,
Why?
you want to go back to Gotham
Why?
City? No, buddy. I hope it's not in the name for hype. That's the thing. I just want to see a beautiful moment between these two guys.
It's got to be about the story. It's got to be, if James Gunn wants it, if Matt Reeves wants it, then there you go. And if the Batman does merge, arguably, we have already lost the chance to have a Batman who fits the comic book pulp of the DCU. And I think this is the big reason why I think maybe it's not a good idea, because Pattinson's Batman is already so incredibly dark, darker than Iron Man, if you think about it as a jumping off point. His Riddler was a streaming incel. His Catwoman doesn't wear a cat suit. His suit doesn't have, grey or blue. His Joker has real, awful, disgusting acid burns. It doesn't mess around, and maybe that wouldn't work. Maybe it wouldn't translate. And when Gunn announced the DCU Batman movie as The Brave and the Bold, he cited it as being influenced by Grant Morrison's Batman run from 2006, which means Damian Wayne, it means Bat Family. And that's not at all the vibe of Robert Pattinson's Batman. So maybe unavoidably, this is separate directions. Does Gunn just give up his idea of having all these different elements? Would Matt Reeves want to introduce a Robin? Can you have the first Robin be Damian Wayne? These are all things that
that's insane, though. The first Robin to be Damian
clash.
Wayne, that's insane.
Exactly. Like, does that work? I would say probably not.
Also, we haven't heard much about The Brave and the Bold. What's happening with it? Andy Muschietti, his development on the movie, what's happening? The other thing is just... I have to say this, Tom, it's the Flash movie that just gives me flashbacks. I don't know what that movie was, but I think at the end of the day, I think we just wait and just hear what James Gunn wants to do. I'm really excited about Peacemaker because he's been teasing a lot about Peacemaker, about what's happening, towards the finale. And also the show is going to be setting up Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah, there's definitely, can you imagine if Batman in the DCU is revealed in Peacemaker in like 2 weeks' time and we're just sitting here like, oh, never mind.
Oh, okay, cool.
Sometimes I think this does just feel like 2005, 2006, Superman Returns, Batman Begins, and everyone, imagining the two of them crossing over. And that never kind of came to fruition. We still have 2 years until Man of Tomorrow and Batman Part 2. And unless we get some sort of confirmation, the fire's only going to get brighter. People are only going to get more and more invested in the idea of these things crossing over. And it could really disappoint people if they do Brave and the Bold with a completely new actor. That actor is going to have an uphill battle. First of all, most of the fan casts are absolutely awful. But whoever they choose, whether they're right for the role or not, are going to be compared to Robert Pattinson, who a lot of people consider to be the best on-screen Batman. Yeah, it's awful shoes to fill. In any kind of iconic comic book role, can you actually follow that up? But there is also another perspective, which is, if they do stay separate, could they cross over in a multiverse scenario?
Elseworlds, yes.
Exactly. Peacemaker is doing multiverse stuff currently. What does that say about DC's likelihood to do crossovers? I don't know.
That's really hard to think about, because I do want to see this Batman in the DCU, but if the merge doesn't happen, I'm totally fine with that. Because I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to the DCU structure, because where does the Batman fit into this world? But I think that could be easily fixed. It would be really interesting to see inspiration from Grant Morrison's Batman, but I just keep thinking about the Batman. So I'm 50-50, because with or without, it's still peak. You're still getting the Batman, and we might see
Exactly.
Batman somewhere.
You can't take that away from us. We'll always
Yeah.
have the Batman, and we'll always have 2027, a year with Superman, Spider-Man, and Batman all on the silver screen. That's a childhood dream come true. And we'll always have Lego Batman too. Now
Yes.
that is the Superman Batman crossover that you just can't top. Like, that was just so exciting.
The
Do you
first
remember
time the Lego characters could talk.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
Yeah,
Do you remember
yeah,
that opening level where right at the end Superman arrives? It's just amazing. It's been done very well before. I want to see Superman and Batman sit in the cafe, how it should have ended.
Yeah.
All that
Like
stuff.
just chilling. That's what I want to see. There's this great short comic story where Batman talks about Superman, why he admires Superman, and then Superman admires Batman, you know. I think that's a pretty cool thing because we did get Batman v Superman, crazy film, but we want to see two guys just chilling and saving the world.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we never properly got to see Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck's characters as friends. We have the amazing, like, how did you get the house back from the bank? Oh, I bought the bank.
That was a nice
It's
moment.
the hints towards what we could have had, but hey, we're in a new world now, so many things could happen. Snap judgment. If I gave you a yes or no answer, what are you going to say? Do you think the two should merge?
Why the hell not? Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
stick my boots. I'm gonna stick my boots. Yes.
Yeah,
What about you?
Oh, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to say no, just
Oh.
because I don't think Matt Reeves wants it. I'm scared that he just wants to do the grit and he doesn't want to embrace the pulp. We shall see. Watch this space, 2027 or beforehand. We'll find out, and you know we will be talking about it. Thank you everybody for listening. If you're listening on YouTube and you liked it, you can like and subscribe if you want to see more. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, you can follow and give us a 5-star review. If you think we're worthy, there will be more DC talk coming up when Peacemaker Season 2 is finished.
Yep.
In about a month's time, we'll be there. But next week, before that, we're going to be doing K-pop Demon Hunters. I know we were going to do it this week, but news happened.
That news happened when I was in the gym, so that got me motivated. I was like, yes,
Who's
yes.
Jim? And you can send us an email at outstimefilmpod@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on K-pop Demon Hunters, and we'll answer it right here on the podcast next week.
Yes, and you can follow us on Instagram at Out of Time Film Pod to see our incredible thumbnails from Zain Afzal, on Twitter for more thoughts from Tom and me, and TikTok to see edited clips, which are all also on Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. And you can find links to that all in the description below. Thanks to Jones-Meyer for the excellent theme and Ronan Phillips for focus as always. And I think that's everything. Take or be given.
Give nothing back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.